Good evening. Is this on? Yes. All right. Welcome to the 2024 West Milford Highlander Band Spring Concert. It's great to see so many faces in the audience tonight. Tonight is going to be a very special evening for a bunch of special reasons, and we'll get to that in a little bit. The first group that you heard tonight was the West Milford Highlander Pipes and Drums under the direction of Mr. and Mrs. Smolinski. Let's give them another round of applause. And this is the symphonic band. The first piece that you heard tonight was Randall Standridge Gallup Festivo. We're going to move into a very, very beautiful lyrical piece by Rossano Galante entitled Existence Infinite. There's a couple different meanings behind this piece. In program notes they talk about kind of a lost loved one who's then talking about their legacy living on. I think in this case it's pretty fitting for tonight, and we'll kind of discuss that a little bit later in terms of what we have here with West Milford and with a certain individual and how his legacy is going to live on. So this is our dedication to you, Dr. Mclin. This is Existence Infinite. Mesa dances. So it's a kind of a little bit of a trip down to the southwest. I wonder who's going there. So I feel like this is like a themed thing tonight. Southwest, you know, legacy living on. And this is just this group. Wait till you hear the next group too. So this piece is definitely a challenge piece. These guys have done an incredible job going through a lot of mixed meters, extensive technique. Yeah, it includes a lot of extra percussionists, so we have some extra percussionists here to help us out. But this is going to be one that I think you'll really enjoy. This one is entitled Mesa Dances. so much for coming out this evening. There are so many people that I would like to thank on behalf of the department. Our supervisor, Mrs. Sharon West, is here in attendance. Without her and her support, a lot of what you see on stage would not be possible. All of these students that you see on stage and that will be coming up were taught by some incredible elementary school teachers, Mrs. Callahan, Mrs. Maddie, Mrs. Paterno, all the way up to the middle school, Mrs. McPartland, and Mr. Paccioni. The rest of my staff here, Mr. Monticelli, Mr. Leitner, Mr. Shaver, all the ancillary staff that we have with percussion, brass, and it takes a village. The one thing that I always knew coming here from where I grew up, which is near Princeton, is this town, West Milford, there's such a community feel to it that I never experienced. After 14 years here, it makes you not want to leave. And you really, really know that the music department is woven into the fabric of that community. And I think we all can feel that today. And again, another person that's extremely, extremely vital to that is Dr. Mclin, which you'll hear from in a second. Yes, he deserves it. Over here, our interim superintendent of the schools, Dr. Bernari, is here, so thank you so much. As a fellow music educator yourself, thank you for being here this evening. We have one more for you. This is a piece by Robert Buckley entitled Propulsion. And once again, thank you so much for coming out this evening.
How about now? Hey, there we go. Whew, that last one's 5 minutes of terror if you're on the baton with the podium. Holy moly. That one is called Free Running, and it is just, nobody gets a moment's rest in that thing. So the rest and the meter changes are coming really fast. The next piece could not be more different. This next piece, written by Eric Whitaker, which originally a choral setting of the Robert Frost poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. And after he wrote this beautiful choral arrangement of this, he contacted the estate of Robert Frost, and to his chagrin was informed that they don't allow any of his poems to be set to music. So now he had this piece of music with no text. So he approached a poet friend of his and said, hey, could you write me a poem that follows the meter and rhyme scheme of this famous poem? And then we'll see where it goes. And so he wrote this really beautiful poem called Sleep that you won't hear tonight because we're not going to sing it. But he had started to play around with wind band writing and had written a very successful piece, although it's a little odd. Eric Whitaker's first band piece is called Godzilla Eats Las Vegas. And it is a crazy thing. We got to play it here a couple of years ago in the New Jersey Wind Symphony. And it's just as wild as you would think. And then he became famous for this kind of writing, and discovered that many of his choral pieces really set well to wind band. And so we'd like to present that to you tonight. Eric Whitaker's Sleep. isn't it? Great piece of music, and one of my favorites over the years to do with the band. Our next piece is a piece that I ran into about 40 years ago, and is the first in a long sequence of pieces by Stephen Mclin, who is, I believe, is a New Jersey guy. He was a South Jersey guy and had been, like, when he was their age, was already arranging and copying music for other composers and stuff like that. And he wrote this piece, Stormworks, as the start of what became a whole industry for him. And we all, as band directors, got used to seeing Stephen's Godspeed on every score that you would buy for him. Mine says, Stephen Mclin, Godspeed, right on the front of it. And that was always a big part of his thing was, this should just infuse life into whoever plays it or listens to it. And so the first movement, Time Storm, has a lot of, as you would guess, a lot of shifting meters and stuff like that. And then we have a beautiful, very introspective Before the Storm movement, and then Into the Storm at the end of it. It's a beautiful piece, 3 movements long, and we'll stop just a moment between movements to allow the percussion to rebuild the little forts that they have back here. And we hope that you guys will enjoy listening to Stormworks as much as we have fun playing it. Everybody ready? All right, you look pretty ready. Let's find out.
entire concert. I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight to witness that man's, Dr. McLaughlin's final concert here at West Milford High School. Although bittersweet, tonight is a celebration of an educator who has devoted 2 decades of his life to the students, families, and community of West Milford. Taking the job in September 2004, Dr. McLaughlin brought with him a level of musical imagination, mastery, and passion that transformed the program into what you see today. But how do you even attempt to quantify what 20 years of teaching looks like? Well, we can start off with some numbers, like over 200 students selected to area band, 87 in region band, 35 made it all the way to all-state, 5 in all-eastern, 2 in all-national bands, 5 New Jersey State Marching Band Championships, 2 Northern States Championships, 2 national U.S. Bands National Championships, 4 concert tours of the United Kingdom, 2 state gala festival selections, and far too many gold and superior ratings to count. But the most important number is 1, as there's only one Brian McLaughlin. I feel lucky to be able to speak on behalf of the hundreds of students and staff that have been positively influenced by this incredible man. His devotion to both his students and music community is only supplanted by his devotion to his family and his faith, and maybe the occasional mountain he can climb. A fundamental element of his pedagogical foundation has always been to develop individuals of high moral character through the avenue of music education. As you can see from the incredible amount of people here today whose lives you've touched, I'd say it's been a job well done. For me personally, the past 14 years together have been truly special. You've come a long way from looking like Tom Selleck in Magnum P.I. with that mustache you used to have. But I wonder if you'll see some of those pictures. Joking aside, I could go on and on about the laundry list of things I've learned from you about music and life, but for time's sake, I'll just sum it up by saying that you've been the most influential person in my adult life. And I know there are others here who can say the same. Although this is your send-off into retirement, we all know the music will never leave you. One of your quotes that's ingrained in my head is the question that you ask, do you want a career in music, or do you want a life in music? Music will always be your life, as it lives on through all those that you've given that gift to, including your own children. The next chapter of your life starts now. Enjoy it. Enjoy being a grandfather. Enjoy the lower property taxes in New Mexico. Enjoy not having to wait for parents to pick up their kids from a late night band rehearsal. But seriously, enjoy the next chapter of your life and always know that your legacy carries on through all of us. At this time, I'd like to call up our current music supervisor, Mrs. Sharon West, and former music supervisor, Mr. John Barno, who will say a few words.
I was asked to say a few words this evening, and as I often do when seeking a place to begin, turn to the poets and writers. While I have only worked directly with Brian for the past 3 years, in that short time I have had many opportunities to observe the skill, dedication, wisdom, caring, and vision he brings to his work with our students, families, and the West Milford community. I often refer to teaching as a calling, and those who are able to teach successfully, as Brian has, respond to that calling with their whole hearts and a joy that is undeniable. We've had a few conversations over this time about the why of what we do as educators, about guiding students to find and bring beauty and joy to the world and themselves, and about inspiring students, not just instructing them. In light of that, it was these words by the poet Khalil Gibran which came to mind. When you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of hours turns to music. Always you have been told that work is a curse and labor a misfortune. But I say to you that when you work, you fulfill a part of the earth's furthest dream. And all work is empty save when there is love. And what is it to work with love? It is to weave the cloth with threads drawn from your heart, even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. It is to build a house with affection, even as if your beloved were to dwell in that house. It is to sow seeds with tenderness and reap the harvest with joy, even as if your beloved were to eat the fruit. It is to charge all things you fashion with the breath of your own spirit. Work is love made visible. Tonight, Brian, it is my hope that you see how far and wide your work has reached, your music heard, and for you to feel that they have been imbued for you and everyone fortunate enough to know you with deep meaning and elevated purpose. Thank you for your work.
Thinking to myself earlier as I was watching this podium, I think this is the first time I've ever spoken behind this podium, even after 10 years. So, just a pleasure to be here tonight. Brian, where to begin? We have lots of stories over the years. We had the privilege of working together for 10 years, 10 plus years, and it was a privilege from day one. There are three words that come to mind, and those are the three words that I want to share with you tonight. The first was Brian and I have a shared faith, and we learned that very quickly about each other. And that created a integrity between the two of us in our friendship and in our work relationship. And so I found him as being someone that I could confide in, someone that I could trust, and someone that would always have my back as well. And I saw that in everything that he did, and it was always a privilege to be a part of the trips to New York City, to the trips to Disney World, to Hershey Park, to clinics that we went to, and region and all-state activities that we were part of, as well as the many marching band competitions we attended. It was just always fun because of the integrity that you brought to this job every day. The second word that comes to mind is musicianship. In nearly 40 years of public school education and another 4 years in higher education, I have been around a lot of really fine band directors. Brian, I'm going to insult some people tonight, but I'm going to say it. You are the finest band director I've been around, and it's been a privilege to be with you. One quick example of that is I used to love going into the band room during 8th period or 9th period, whatever it is, for the wind ensemble, and to just sit and just kind of reground myself. It was wonderful. But I always got a kick out of watching Dr. Mack conduct the band, because he wasn't what I was used to in the sense of a high school band director being very specific about teaching this, that, and the other thing. Not that he didn't teach those things, but I used to call him a mad scientist, because you would walk into the laboratory of his band room and he would just pull things from out of anywhere, and he'd say, let's try this, let's try that. And the students were just right there with him and would make all of these wonderful sounds, and it was just so much fun to watch. The last word that comes to mind, and this I want to leave with all of you, is the love that Dr. Mack has, not only just for his students, but for all of you, for this community, and for the people that he comes in contact with. And he shares that in so many ways. I was reminded again recently of the people that touch our lives the most, are the people that we remember the best. And I was kind of hoping that I would see the band tonight, as I said this, but Mom and Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, I'm going to say it to you. Your children will remember this man for the rest of their life because of his love for them, for his love of music and for his love of this wonderful community. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call up our band president, Mrs. Mary Duffy.
How do I capture a legend? In a song, I can't sing. In a novel, I can do that, but we'd be here all night. So I decided to write a narrative poem. Because of Dr. Mclin. Because of you, Dr. Mclin, we gathered here as a community to honor and celebrate the teacher, director, mentor, and muse you have been for so many. Because of you, Dr. Mclin, so many have found their way, their voice, their passion, and drive to strive for excellence. Because of you, Dr. Mclin, students step out of their comfort zone and persevere through life's challenges. Did I mess up? Okay. I need to be taller. Because of your high expectations, Dr. Mclin, students learn to prepare, learn the art of discipline, and learn to win and lose gracefully. Because of your love of music and gift to teach, Dr. Mclin, students excelled musically and academically. So it's no surprise that this year's valedictorian and salutatorian happen to be band kids. Because of you, because of your support and encouragement, Dr. Mclin, so many grew into leaders, positive role models, and plain old good humans. Because of you, Dr. Mclin, parents learned to let go and trust in the process as their children blossomed right before their eyes. Because of your dad jokes, Dr. Mclin, so many have laughed and learned humor is necessary, and it's okay to not take ourselves so seriously. Because of your belief in others, Dr. Mclin, so many have learned to believe in themselves. Because of you, Dr. Mclin, we've listened to beautiful music performed by our children. Because of your stories, Dr. Mclin, students were inspired to share their stories of how a gentleman from Texas helped them grow and change into the person they are today. Because of you, Dr. Mclin, a book of musings was created. Because of you, Dr. Mclin, our hearts are full of gratitude, love, and music. As you climb your next mountain, we want to thank you for your commitment to our children, and know that the melodies you have helped to create will live in our hearts forever. Thank you. For this part, we need you. It's a box of tissues.
because of you. And it's got a picture of my gray head with a baton. Oh, cool. It's letters from former students with photographs of them and me usually. They all look better than I do. Mary, this is really sweet. Thank you very much.
So that cover is actually designed by your former student, Ariana Blauer. All right. So, when thinking about a gift that could equate to what you've given this community, well, there's really nothing we could do. I honestly couldn't think of much. There's nothing that equals everything that you've done for this community, but we feel this is as close as we could get. For the countless memories you've given us and the dreams you've helped our students achieve, we wanted to return the favor. You and I have had many conversations over the years, and there's one I vividly remember about a dream of yours and Tammy's, and we'd like to turn that dream into a reality. You told me it's been a dream of yours to see the greatest symphony orchestras in the world in their own concert halls. Well, on behalf of myself, the music staff, your students, both past and present, and the entire West Milford Music family, we will be sending you two to Europe. Your flights are covered through Flight Plan. Your hotels, accommodations are taken care of through Hotels.com. And you have ticket vouchers for the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra in Amsterdam, the Staatskapelle Orchestra in Dresden, the Bavarian Radio Symphony Orchestra in Munich, and of course, the Berlin Philharmonic. And we're not done yet. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to take a seat again. Just going to get your steps in today. Mandy, you're good. We've got one more gift for you, and then I promise we're done. You've spent your entire life giving the gift of music to so many, so it only makes sense that we return the favor and give the gift of music to you. So for the first time ever, the West Milford High School Alumni Band, comprised of your students, Dr. McLin. And it's dedicated to you. Just so you know, I've been secretly working this with the wind ensemble whenever you've been out. So thank you for taking those days off. And Tammy, thank you for keeping him away from the school on Saturday when we rehearsed this. So I appreciate you. The piece is originally starts with the clarinet solo, as that is what the band director who was written for played. So we figured that we'd arrange it for horn, since that's your chosen instrument, and that will be played by your protege, Zach McIntyre. Thank you, Maestro.
West Milford has been a joyous surprise at every turn. For a Texan, my view of New Jersey was that it was all inner city or factory and was populated entirely by hard-edged Italian mobsters. So you can imagine my surprise to find a place so beautiful and find people as warm and generous as you guys have been for these last 20 years. And I have loved working here and the partnerships that I've had with my administrators and with my faculty members, my fellow staff members. But there's one partnership that I do need to recognize, and that's one that's been going on for 38 years. And marked with love and support and forgiveness, and this is not possible without Tammy. Just so many wonderful things never saw this many pipers in my life. And I say thank you to all of you who made this evening such a special thing for me. And thank you to the parents in West Milford for loaning me your children for all these years. I hope we didn't give them back too warped. But I have just loved making music here, and I feel like the band is in good hands. You know, 20 years ago, I had a vision for what I thought the program could be, and by golly, we made it. And I've had a fantastic coworker in Matt that, like it or not, is heavily imprinted by me. This is the only job the guy's ever had. And we have been together as a team for 14 years. And I know that the future of the Highlander Band is in great hands. And between him, Leitner, Monticelli, Joe Smolinski, Christie, all of these people, and I'm sure I've forgotten somebody, who have made this band so successful a thing. I thank you, and I get to actually literally ride off into the West. Thank you very much. Matt, is there more? I hate to ask. There's a reception in the cafeteria. And kids, we're going to leave everything on the stage, just right where it is. All right? Although wind ensemble percussion, if you want to put stuff we need for vertical terrain over to the edge, that might be a good idea for tomorrow. Thank you very much. I feel very loved, very appreciated, and I have to say that I've had the best job in the world.